gives me great pleasure to bring on board one and only Madhu Kela to talk about markets, sectors, themes, but more importantly, the way forward for the country, for us as a society, and also for him as a human being and as a spiritual person. Madhu, on behalf of everyone from ET Now and from millions of your followers, wish you, your family, your wife and your daughters a lovely and a happy Diwali.
Nikunj, wishing you, the entire ET Now team and all the viewers of ET Now a very, very happy Diwali. I wish good health and lots of prosperity for everyone.
What a year it's been, Madhu. When the world discovered a problem called COVID, Nifty was at 12,000. Now we've discovered vaccine, Nifty is back at 12,000. So I guess this year we've seen everything from churn to a gut-wrenching fall to a majestic comeback. I guess in 6 months, all emotions of the market and also life, they have been captured.
Absolutely. I think you said it beautifully. Let me tell you, no one would have ever imagined life will be back to normal in 6 to 9 months. Because if you look around, when Nifty was at 7,500, I vividly remember having a conversation with you offline, and there was so much ghabrat in the whole street that we don't know what is going to happen. And I don't think anyone could call it that in 6 months' time, life will be normal. And this is markets for you, and this is life for you. So Nikunj, to be honest with you, this is what my Diwali message this time is, that it only and only pays you to be optimistic when everyone is in panic and there is any adversity. Only the optimism will take you forward.
That's a great point. Keep the faith, and it's always triumph of the optimist. But from extreme pessimism in the month of March and April, have we now come to a level of extreme euphoria? Because there are challenges in the economy. The shape of the economy will structure. Not everybody will emerge stronger. Yes, few will. But do you think markets are running ahead of themselves?
Nikunj, I can't see a euphoria anywhere. To be honest with you, the prices have come back a long way, but I can't see euphoria except in a few sectors or few companies. I can't see a euphoria because after such a big rise, a lot of the pharmaceutical companies are trading anywhere between 15 to 18 times next year earning. By any stretch of imagination, you can't call it euphoria. A lot of the public sector companies, even after the announcement of HPCL buyback and intended strategic sale of BPCL, still are trading at maybe 5-year or 10-year old prices. Cement stocks are still trading at $60 to $100 average of EV per ton. So financial stocks are trading at some of the banks are still available below book. Some of the banks are trading at 1.5 times book. So I can't call it any euphoria, I would say. Obviously the prices have risen quite a lot and one feels that we have come a long way. But let's not forget in all this that the rise has not been very, very broad-based. It is basically the 15 companies in Nifty which have done well to lift up this entire Nifty as the indices. But there is still a lot of value, I would say, which is available in the market.
Madhu, last time when we spoke, you said there are two things which COVID has permanently rebooted. One is interest rates will remain low for a long period of time. It will change cash flows and future valuations. And then implications of technology, as technology will change habit, it will change processes, and it will also have impact on decision making. Because of these two, I won't say permanent, but because of these two mega trends, how would investing change in future?
Determinant of where equity valuation are or where equity valuation will be. From two perspectives, Nikunj. A, obviously it defines the cost of capital for companies. And also, it determines what are the alternates which are there to equity. So, the 1 year deposit in a good bank is fetching you anywhere between 3 to 4%. So, that is my competition. A good fixed income, double A or double A plus, is fetching anywhere between 6 or 7%. So, equities, to my mind, in this kind of interest rate environment, remains very, very attractive investment class. And that is what I'm trying to relate to even your previous question. That when you say that is there a euphoria, it has to be understood in the context of this, rather than in isolation at only looking at the stock prices.
We spoke about two sectors, Madhu, and one has worked like a charm. And now, when I speak to some of the common friends, they say nobody understands pharma the way Madhu does. When markets were in a depressed state, you said pharma will be the next leader, and pharma has turned out to be the next leader. But do you think now for pharma, we are in still for an EPS as well as P upgrade, or now it will only be an EPS upgrade?
I would say still there is some P upgrade which is possible because most of the results have actually surprised Nikon. If they have even surprised an optimist like me. There are two questions which are raised in pharma industry. One, whether all these profits which are coming, how much of it is because of COVID, and once the COVID settles down, will it be, is it one-off? Will it sustain, not sustain? So, everyone has a view, and I too have my view. I don't think there is a huge contribution of COVID or COVID related issues in these profits. There will be some contribution, but I don't think it is a lot. It is, to me, it looks like a more structural growth story than anything to do only with COVID. So if you believe that, then you are a camp that profits could still surprise what the streets are assuming for a lot of these pharma companies. And if profits surprise, then of course, these stocks cannot peak out at 15, 17 times P multiple, Nikunj. And to my understanding, a lot of the pharma companies, the good ones also, are trading in this range as of now.
But the pharma space, Madhu, is a very complicated space. You've got specialty chemical on one side, API manufacturers like Loris on one side, along with granules. Then you've got domestic facing businesses on one side. What is the best way to understand pharma? Because when we say pharma, we're actually talking about 4 or 5 baskets within pharma.
So, Nikunj, in pharma companies, basically, there are very few companies, like even what the name which you gave. Let's say, when I take something like a Sun Pharma, I can't tell them that this is only a domestic story because they are also doing US generic, they are doing rest of the world, they are doing some specialty chemical, they are doing domestic pharma also. Similarly, when you talk about Laurus, it is not only the API. They have got into formulation in a very big way. They are doing CDMO. They are doing, APIs also. So, a lot of these companies are well diversified. Their sales as well as their profits are well diversified now. And everyone is trying to diversify even more. So what we have to worry about, there is only one thing, Nikunj, which you have to worry about in pharma is the regulatory issues. Because, a lot of these plants get regularly inspected by the US FDA. And whenever you have the regulatory issue, you never know how long is it going to take and, when will it get sorted out and what will be the implication on profits. So in the past also, even when we saw companies like IPCA, Ranbaxy, a lot of these companies got hugely impacted because of the regulatory impact. And to that extent, there has been a little bit of tailwind for this whole sector because last 9 months, no US FDA inspector has traveled, so there has not been much inspection in that sense. And I would say Indian companies have even become smarter because of the quality of inspection they faced in the last 5 years. So that is the only real thing which I will worry about individual companies as to how their regulatory compliances are. So if at all you have to track one most important thing on the pharma sector for the next 2 years, in my opinion, apart from profit growth, it will be the regulatory compliance.
Madhu, if one looks at the profit cycle for India and I'm keeping IT aside, I'm keeping pharma aside, a lot of Indians have benefited because of three factors. One, inflation. Second, to a large extent, rupee depreciation. And third, I hate to use the word, but loose governance standards, crony capitalism. These factors may not be applicable for a long period of time. Rupee is almost stable, inflation is going to remain low, and crony capitalism, well, it's tough to really have that kind of an attitude and approach towards markets and banks now. How should one look at Indian companies? Because the three tailwinds which were there are suddenly not there.
Nicole, it's an ironic situation you call it. I think the two of them are becoming actually friendly to Indian companies, because over the last 6 years, whoever relied only on crony capitalism or all those tactics which were available for 50 years, you have seen a lot of companies fall apart in the last 5-6 years. So I think everyone now understands that this is the new India. There are a different level of governance practices out here, but the opportunity has not shrunk, Nikul. So even the companies which are adhering to good governance, you are seeing, what the valuations of these companies are. Some of these companies, like, whether you talk about, again, we're not trying to, when we take names, please make sure that I'm not trying to recommend it to buy to anyone. We're doing it for educational purposes. So I think when you look at a company like either a Pidilite or even a company like Naukri.com, some of these companies are trading at very, very rich valuations because they are very well governed. So governance also gets you a very extra premium. And I think incrementally, a lot of entrepreneurs are realizing that it is best to have the best possible governance, because that is what creates wealth. So rather than it being a real problem, I think it is becoming a friend of a lot of companies, is what I would like to say. And it is opening a very different level of opportunities for people who are well governed.
The 2003 to 2000 bull market made Madhusudan Kela from an unknown investor to an unforgettable investor. If the setting on the table is exactly the same, which is low interest rates, low operating leverage, rich valuations, and more importantly, you are fully invested and you are convinced. So what do you think you want to achieve in this bull market? Because it's not number. I know money is a score in your life, but what is that you want to achieve in this bull market?
Nikunj, this is a game of excellence. Basically, what one is focusing on with 30 years of learning. I am really, really enjoying myself. When I analyze the companies now these days, the energy is very different. The way of looking at those companies are very different, because in the past, we have gone wrong and lost money in so many companies, so that all that learning is there on the table. So, it is the whole process of you thinking something and you going right and you enjoying the process rather than the result. So I just want to make sure that I get better and better at this game, if I may call it. And I want to become a better Madhusudan Kela every day. That is what my endeavor is. And apart from that, Nikunj, clearly, you want to give back. So I am trying to do my very best for in my spiritual self. Also, whatever little which we can do for Isha, we are doing that. And also, I would say that, I to the investors, to this platform, which has given me so much. So I'm really looking forward to contribute in whatever manner I can to the investing community by and large.
You've always been coming out and sharing your experiences, and I'm sure our interactions during the COVID time, when you thumbed the table and you said, don't fear, commit to SIPs, keep on buying regularly in a systematic manner. Those views of yours, I'm sure, have benefited a lot of investors and especially our viewers. So a big thank you for that. So Madhu, two more closing questions. One,
thank you so much.
One, Madhusudan Kela is very open about the fact that he's bought a lot of companies and he's gone wrong on them. There are some companies which also have gone from 4-digit to 0-digit. But if I count the financial success of Madhusudan Kela, despite so many mistakes, you are still a success story. So what is that? You do mistakes, but you're still a success.
Yeah, so Nikunj, the whole thing is that, when you lose money, you lose a small amount of money. Maybe the numbers are large, but when you make money, you are still able to hold on. And obviously, you make much, much more money. So I am very, very satisfied with my journey of last 25 years. All whether I turned out to be a better investor than what I was, and financially, I have no complaints. I started my career with a 3,000 rupee salary, and where I am today, absolutely no complaints about making those mistakes. Nico, let me just clarify one small point. In fact, I was having this discussion with Samir Arora, and there was this point about Federal Bank which came in. So what I was wanting to pinpoint was that even a bank like Federal Bank, we could have lost 90%, but that was way back in 92, 94. I think bank today is in the best hands, and this bank will really do well.
So what Madhu Kela has achieved in 25 years, a boy from a small town, a boy who came with a dream and aspiration. But 25 years ago, India was different. Financial markets were very less competitive. Like Rakesh Jhunwala always says that 30 साल पहले शेयर बाजार में जाते थे तो शादी नहीं होती थी. That is not the scenario for stock market. So my question is that what Madhu Sudha has achieved, can somebody who's young and is coming from a small town and has aspirations and no money, can that same person achieve that in next 20 years?
I think he can achieve it in a much smaller time frame, Nikunj, because in our time, creating $1 billion company used to take 10, 20 years. These days, if you have a great idea, you can create $1 billion company in 2 years. And you have many examples of that in India. So obviously, as an investor, while the competition has gone up, the kind of opportunities have also gone up, and stock market remains as exciting, or I would say even more exciting for people who are wanting to make career and who are wanting to create wealth from here than they were even 25 years back.
Well, we are very excited, Madhu, that finally you've taken time out to be part of the firing squad, which is Ask Questions. And we are coming out with a new show, a deep dive with Madhu Kela. So Madhu, this is a first off, and thank you for agreeing to be part of the firing squad, which is occupy an anchor chair and ask hard-hitting questions to relevant companies.
Nikunj, as I said, this is in a way giving back. I'm really, really excited, and I hope I'll be able to add a lot of value to people who are going to view it. We'll be able to add a lot of value to companies with whom we interact. And I'm really looking forward, and I'm actually preparing myself for all the companies, potential companies, which we are going to deep dive. And I'm sure this will be a really, really good show. So looking forward to work very closely with the entire ET Now team, and looking forward to co-anchor this show along with you. Very excited, Nikunj.
Well, we are also very excited. So I just want to make this announcement on the Diwali show that watch the space. It's going to be one of its kind, a very unique show where Team ET Now, along with Madhu, we would be analyzing companies, managements, thought process, vision, ideation, and also what is the way forward for some of the best corporates in India. So Madhu, once again, wish you a very happy Diwali. Thank you very much for joining us. On behalf of millions of investors, thank you for coming at important turning points and guiding investors what is right, what is wrong, how should they differentiate between risk and volatility, and how should one make fear their friend if you're a long-term investor.
Thank you so much, Nikunj. Thank you so much for all the love and affection over the years, and really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me always, and providing me a platform to actually interact with millions of people who I don't even know. And I'm quite sure that over the years it has proven to be very good for me, and I'm sure it has proven to be good for a lot of these investors as well. Thank you so much once again.